Hey everybody, today we're going to be putting up a sunshade for the greenhouse. As you can see, I've already put up this shade and it came out pretty well. I'm quite happy with what happened with this one. So we're going to be putting it on the other side over there, and hopefully when it's all said and done, the other side will act and work just the same as this one, like a curtain where you just pull it on up and it'll be tucked away behind the awning right behind it. To make the sunshade curtain to go up and down like the other side, you're going to need a few things. And the first most important thing is to have, obviously, the sunshade. And also to make sure that the grommets, these holes, are spaced out very close to the same size that you have the trusses for the top of your roof. You're going to want to have the grommets equally spaced to where you're going to be putting in these eye bolts on the wood of your trusses, or however you're going to mount it. If you can mount it along any part of your roof, go right for it. But the best place for me was along the top rafters, trusses of the roof. So it just worked out really well that I have 2 foot spacing. These grommets are 2 feet apart, and you'll see that a little bit later. The next thing you're going to need is I got a 1-inch PVC pipe, and I got a little bit larger because it has a little bit extra weight, and it's also 10 feet long, which is also the same length as the sunshade going across. The sunshade is also 10 feet in length, but the height of the greenhouse is only 8 feet. So I got that extra 2 feet to help roll this up, to help with the roll of the curtain, as you'll see a little bit later. I got 2 end caps for the PVC pipe just to close it off. And if you end up needing more weight for the PVC piping to help with the rolling, you can always fill up your PVC pipe with rocks or sand or dirt even. I got a couple zip ties, and we have just electrical tape, but just about any tape will do as long as it stays on. And I got a whole bunch of paracord for my strings. The only thing I've already done today was put up a couple of these into the wood, up into the roof, and I'll show you how they look after that. I put generally 2 in each piece, so one would be holding up the grommet or the sunshade, and the other one will be holding up the rope or the paracord. 2 of the eye hooks are right in here, and I got that going every 2 feet going down. The first eye hook's going to be holding the grommets for the sunshade, and the one in the back is going to be more for holding the string and rope to help with the curtain effect. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the shade up into those front hooks. Now you are going to have to bend the eye hooks just a little bit to get the grommets in, but it'll work, don't worry. And I also got the needle nose pliers just to help out. So we got the shade up, and it's looking good, pretty much exactly how I was hoping it would look at this point. And the next part is to just get the PVC pipe rolled up into it. So I got the PVC close to where I want it. I'm going to put the ends on now. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to get some zip ties onto the PVC and the sunshade, and we're going to connect them. After we clip the ends off of the zip tie, we're just going to put a little bit of masking tape on there because I don't like those rough ends that could potentially cut your screen. So an important part to how this works is that this curtain or shade is going to roll up this way, actually backwards up and in towards the greenhouse. To do that, you got to start actually winding this on with the zip ties correctly in this direction. You don't want to go the other way. Now it's time to clip off the ends and put a little duct tape on each one. Sorry, it wasn't duct tape. Now it's time to put on some electrical tape. Just something to put over the end because these little pieces can scratch and cut, and I just don't want that. So it's a little extra layer of protection. So the trick at this point is to keep the roll going and keep it tight. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the PVC just up off the ground because two reasons. One is it's going to stretch and it is going to eventually hit the ground. And the other one is when it's coming down, I want it to be all nice and level. Give it a little bit of extra weight to come down. So we're going to start rolling that up kind of tight right now, and then we're just going to use the zip ties to zip tie it in place. So now we're zip tied down. It did stretch a little bit, so it is touching the ground a little bit, but we can fix that when we get the ropes going, so no big deal. If you've been watching the video to this point, you probably noticed it's a little bit wet out. We've had 2 rain delays on this video, which is fine. Hey, can't control the weather. But next stop is the rope. I'm going to run 3 ropes. I would have liked to have had a nice symmetrical rafters, so it would have been nice to have a 3rd one directly in the middle, but that's not going to work. If I want to run a 4th one, it'll be symmetrical, but I didn't need it for the other one, so right now I'm not going to run it for this one. The reason I didn't run 2 is I'm pretty sure it would droop in the center, so that 3rd one I think will give it just enough, and also it'll distribute the weight between the other 2 hooks on the ends, so it'll be a 3rd hook holding up all that weight. So I'm going to show you how I wrap the rope through to make sure that you get the nice rolling, curling effect, just like a curtain. This is the location for where we're going to be pulling up and down the whole curtain. So I'm going to run some rope on up through, and since this is my longest of the 3, I'm going to run that all the way to the end, not to the very end. I'm actually going to stop 1 rafter short, and I'm going to bring it down and back up. Now remember, we're going to run this through the back O-ring. Now at this point, we're going to take the rope, and we're going to get about 20 feet worth over here, and we're going to throw it on the back and let it drop all the way to the bottom. Now that we got the rope down back, I put it underneath, brought it back up, and I'm going to bring it straight up to that hook up in the front where the grommet is. Now we're just going to make a knot. Second line does the same thing. Goes down along the back. And here's the last one. We're gonna go in the back again. And we're gonna go in the back loop for the second one, and this is where we're gonna drop it down. All right, we're gonna get the string in the back, pull it on out. Then we're gonna slowly take it up back to the top, or it'll be waiting for me up there. Then we're gonna just put in the front loop, and I put it in front of the grommet. Now I just make a knot to secure it in and take out the slack. Now all 3 of them should be right in line. Perfect. All right, we got the 3 strands. We're just gonna give them a cut. I cut them long just in case. Then light it up so the ends get burnt down to themselves. So like I said, I try to keep that bar just a little bit up off the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull on this back a little bit until it gets just off the ground. I'm going to remember this is where I want my nut so it can't go through the eye bolt. And I'm just going to put a knot there. I had a big rain delay. after I made this knot in the rope. So here we are back at it another day, and finishing it up. So this knot was knot I made up there, and when I roll that back up, the curtain stops just below the ground, and when I pull it back, it rolls up nicely. So in between the filmings, I also braided this a little bit to give it a nice good holding surface, and also it helps when I put in these two hooks right here, so I can put it up at any spot I want and then just put it in the hook and it's good to go. So we'll show you from the front what this looks like. All right, here we are. It's basically finished. The couple things that you want to look out for is making sure these strings or ropes are straight up and down. If they're not straight up and down, they'll start getting the one side cocked higher or lower than the other. So you just want to look at all three of them, make sure they're straight up and down. And that's another reason why you want this slightly off the ground, because if it goes to the ground, you'll get slack in here, and then it'll be easier for the ropes to move side to side. But let's see it in action. Perfect. And the only thing I don't like right now is that when it comes down, it gets a little folded. As you can see here, it doesn't come straight down, which means I need to put some more weight into that PVC piping, which is going to be pretty simple because we got the ends. We can take the ends off and we can put in sand, dirt, or rocks. Both shades looking good, working pretty much as expected. Just a little bit of weight needs to go to the PVC pipes. The only thing I don't like is this gap in between the two. I would have gone actually for a 20-foot length shade, but we had the sliding door here, so I knew I needed to keep an entrance. So this gap isn't the worst thing in the world for our situation, because we can still get in and out, but at the same time I can get a bungee cord and that'll cover up most of the gap. I could have probably shifted a few things here left and right to help with the gap, but you know what, for now it's pretty good and it gives us a nice entrance for the sliding door. But that's it. The shades are up and hopefully we'll be nice and cool in there on these warm summer days. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you soon. Thanks. Bye.